Hi, this is Heather here with Underwater Panther. So today I want to talk about Capricorn, or the ISTJ personality type. I have my skeleton shirt on and Mr. Atlas here. It was a project I did when I was into fitness hardcore. I was studying anatomy and muscle activation techniques and personal training, had my own holistic business. So I thought it would be cool to create a visual, I super glued rubber bands on as anatomically correct as I could. It has taken a beating. It's been through a couple moves, but yeah, this is Atlas. We all know Capricorns love, it represents our bone structure. It represents structure and bones and archaeology and history, and is a very foundational personality type. So, all right. So, Capricorn, or the ISTJ, is a finisher type. They are considered the guardian. They are known as the examiner or scholar, and they are about 40% of the population. So their mode is cardinal, so they are initiating and creating new, and their element is earth. Earth represents thinking and being practical. So we're going to be discussing temperament right now. So we are going to be getting into the element of earth. So earth signs are all about the pinnacles, or moolah. They find great security and wealth, staying grounded, being steady and hardworking, and are loyal to their values. They are very sensual creatures and are patient and practical. They tend to want to surround themselves with either high-value treasures or can cling on to old heirlooms and have a hard time letting go. Just as they can be loyal, they can also be stubborn and inflexible. It is their way or the highway. These signs can let life weigh them down, especially Capricorns, and can be prone to becoming depressed and lazy or stuck in a rut. So Earth represents the concrete, stability, growth, and systematic thinking. They are slow to communicate their thoughts and feelings because they want to make sense of them first. This makes them very reserved and observant. They take an idea, create a model that is practical, and then follow through with it themselves. Makes them want to organize everything in our business and long-term structure-minded. So they are cardinal, initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical, adding the earth. It makes sense of knowledge, wisdom, and experiences. So they like to be the boss a lot of the times, and they have to be the example, but also receive the benefit because they take people from point A to point B, wanting to make sense of things in concrete reality. So cardinal signs are the most assertive and the most interested in initiating change. Their mode of activity is to start new things. They easily begin things and respond well to new ideas. They are self-starters. Crisis motivates them. They achieve control by remaining one step ahead of everyone else. So the cardinal signs: Aries seeks leadership and control in general. Cancer controls emotions, home, and family. I got a tractor coming. Libra tries to control partnerships. Capricorn controls, uses, and exploits the material environment. For cardinal signs, things are always happening. This is usually because they are doing the starting. This is very much so in their temperament. So because they are considered a starter, the 4 cardinal signs are at the first month of each season. Capricorn represents the beginning of winter. So they are introverted, sensing, thinking, and judging dominant. Introversion is described as a person with lower levels of extroversion in the Big Five. Introversion is characterized by self-awareness, reflecting, taking time to make decisions, and they can tend to feel tired after being in a crowd. People who are more introverted tend to have fewer friends and associates, but form strong relationships with those friends they do have. Instead of seeking outward stimulation, they are content with their own company and tend to be more cerebral and reflective than introverts. So some subtraits: they need to focus on one thing at a time to concentrate. They feel comfortable being alone. They prefer to write rather than talk. They daydream or use their imaginations to work out a problem. They tend to retreat into their own mind to rest. They need more time alone to recoup. They can seem quiet and hard to get to know. Too much stimulation leaves them feeling distracted and unfocused. They like to learn by watching, and they are drawn to jobs that involves independence. So they are left brain dominant, Capricorn or ISTJs. So they are left brain logic, but they are yin going within the feminine. So the left brain, it represents earth and air. So they are thinking and they are all about practicality. So the right side of the brain, this is probably flip-flop on camera, represents fire, which is the yang, and water, which is the yin. So you've got the left and right brain, and the left and the right are also split in half. So they like to take logic and the internal realm, then create a model from that for the external realm. So they can be passive and non-expressive with emotions or even thinking until they make sense of what they communicate. So they are reserved and conservative. When they are communicative, they are not so much expressing their feelings like water or thoughts like air, but they want to take action on it. That's where the earthly practicality comes in. They'll take their feelings and thoughts and make a shape and form out of it. So, like making money. They base their decisions on logic, not feelings, because they need to be practical. This makes them a thinker, not a feeler. So, overview of temperament. Temperament is a configuration of observable personality traits, such as habits of communication, patterns of action, and sets of characteristic attitudes, values, and talents. It also encompasses personal needs, the kinds of contributions that individuals make in the workplace, and the roles they play in society. Each temperament has its own unique qualities and shortcomings, strengths, and challenges. So Dr. David Kersey has identified humankind's 4 basic temperaments as the artisan, which is the fire signs, the guardians, which are the earth signs, the idealists, which are the water signs, and the rationale, or the intellectuals, or the air signs. So I am combining multiple different systems together in order to spit out my astro-psychology. All right, so temperamentally, now we are getting into interaction styles. Socially, how they communicate. So they are direct, responding, and movement-oriented. So they are direct, which means they say what they mean what they say. They are responding, which is also another word for introverted in social dynamics. They normally wait for others to initiate unless business dealings or on a goal. So they are movement oriented. They are obsessed with finishing things. They will research book after book. They want to find answers, and they are chart the course and see it through. So they are they can be very obsessive with researching. So the secondary interaction is they are concrete, affiliative, and systematic. So the first axis of distinction in language use, we have abstract versus concrete. So they are concrete. If you are more concrete by nature, you will more often think and talk about tangible realities backed up with sensory observation. Your free thought time is likely filled with reviewing events, facts, images, memories, and how things look, feel, taste, and sound. And that quote was from David Kersey. So some keywords for concrete, they can be very skeptical, dismissive, disbelief, tunnel vision, hyper-focused on details. So extroverted sensing, is more about experiences, less about the little details, but SI, or introverted sensing, is more about the long-term memory and details. So they live in the real world. They can be down to earth, have common sense, experience, experiments, observes, perceives through the five senses, asks what is, and they are all about the, well, they're present and past focused and realistic. So the second axis is affiliative versus pragmatic. So the idealist and water signs, or the idealist, which are the water signs, and the guardians, which are the earth signs, are all affiliative. So Capricorn is affiliative. Affiliative focuses on what is right, priority of cooperation and agreement, want to check in with the social norms and values of the collective group. So that's family, work, community, and they need to find roles, and they want people getting along and sharing time served. They can still be independent thinkers. They just want harmony and cooperation in groups, especially. So they do have the potential risk of being doormats and being too concerned with other people for the affiliative temperaments. So pragmatic, the intellectuals and air signs and artisans and fire signs are pragmatic. So pragmatic means that they are focused on what works, excellence, and personal achievements, seeking outcomes. They make decisions to reach those things faster. They're more independent. The affiliative, they check in with the group before making decisions, and the pragmatic personality types are more independent. They need freedom of actions regardless of rules or roles. They can be seen as selfish. They don't ask for permission and ask for forgiveness afterwards. So the final or third axis of distinction within the temperament, social interaction, we have structure versus systematic. Structure or systematic versus motive or interest, depending on what you're studying, cross-referencing here. So anywho, Capricorns are systematic, so structure or systematic. I like to say systematic. So systematic is understanding the systems of culture, has a method and expectation, knows what's at stake, knows the rules and processes, so they can make great lawyers. They need structure in a situation with clear processes, rules, outlines, norms, with methodologies and models. They care about the order of things. They cannot function in chaos like the motive or interest-based people, and therefore they bring organization. So systematic, think in terms of systems, framework, model, labels, focusing on what is the order and how is this organized. Sequences, how does this all fit together? And also what pieces are missing. They need a way of doing things or a method. They're very methodical. So they develop those things to solve problems. They can create processes and systems, and they like to implement them as well. So they can be very professional. They like to dress up properly, and they're all about the scientific method. That is their model. They're trying to build things for others. They can get lost in all the details and miss the ultimate purpose. So they can tend to forget the purpose of the interaction to begin with. They can be too focused on the details and miss out on the purpose behind why people are doing things. People don't always apply to their own systems. So motive or interest-based, we have the fire and water signs. So interest-based people or motive, they are very focused on what others are interested in and what motivates people. What are people trying to get out of things? They can see every interaction can be new rather than always structured, so they can keep tabs on what the agenda is. So this is Capricorn's weakness here because they are systematic. not motive-based. So motive-based people, they want to know intentions, motives, and people's interests to be clear. They use those things as boundaries to organize their lives rather than using generalized systems or frameworks as boundaries. This can turn into very transactional case-by-case interactions. So for motive or interest-based temperaments, the keywords are they make contracts, they like auditing, associating, relating, negotiating. They can tend to move the goalposts. They can tend to be cheap, my interest over your interest, profit over people, showing and expecting favoritism, gain, haggle, barter, review, wheel and deal, having an agenda, improvision, careful appraisal, persuasiveness, shrewdness, and wanting to know what people's angles are. So, interest-based people can, I think, up front tend to seem more warm, and systematic people can tend to seem more cold. But interest people can also kind of screw you over to a degree. I think they're more aware of what everyone is getting out of the situation. It just depends on how you were raised. Anywho, so Capricorns, they are safety, past focused, past focused. They are all about what they should do, storytelling, long-term memory experience. So the Earth, they're very duty-based. The careers that they can get involved with, a lot of the Capricorns or ISTJs are military officers, lawyers, judges, police officers, and detectives. They can also get into accounting, architecture, biology, business administration, computer science, computer information systems, construction management, criminal justice, and criminology. So if you're a Capricorn or ISTJ, you might want to look into the accounting, agricultural technician, chemical engineer, civil engineer, developer, electrical engineer, financial analyst, or mechanical engineer. Would be some good careers for a Capricorn. So the 10th house energy revolves around and created Capricorn. This is the house system in astrology. So you've got the 1st through the 12th house. So the 10th house represents career, public image, rules, boundaries, discipline, and authority. So the 10th house is what you are known for and how you are seen in your career, status, and reputation. This is the house of career and public standing. Its opposite is the 4th house, which rules the home. The 10th house rules all matters outside the home, such as your profession, your status in the community, and your public reputation, also known as the house of ambition, aspiration, and attainment. This house reveals what esteem you are held by others and reflects your image as shown in the power, position, and honors you may achieve. It is the outward expression of your talents, the way you act responsibly, the place you arrive at through your own efforts. This house has a great influence on your material success in life. So, Capricorns can see others aren't right for the job and see things aren't done as right as the details, so they can see what is wrong in good nature. Capricorns need to be grounded by having routines, goals, taking their time, and feeling safe, especially within their environment. They are very duty focused because they do what they have to rather than what they want to most of the time. They would rather do the groundwork and be safe rather than sorry. This makes them slow to move, and they tend to chart the course first. They would rather sit back, learn, and see how things are done first. Capricorns rarely tell you what they really think and feel until they have done a lot of processing first. They have major endurance and weather storms by letting thoughts and feelings pass because they know not all thoughts and feelings need to be expressed or even are valid to begin with. They tend to become parental figures to those around them because Capricorns are very future focused in a practical way. They do have a good memory for the past as well, and they're concrete, so they are very aware of reality. They truly want everyone as a collective to have a better future. They massively care about society. They deeply understand history repeats itself and can see those patterns distinctly. They are very critical about the material world around them as well as their knowledge. They are extremely scholarly and strive to build a tower of knowledge. They have massive amounts of RAM in their long-term memory with introverted sensing and can actually be quite the history buff. Their purpose in life is to advocate proper ideas and thinking. They are sympathetic with the truth and want to prevent society from being stupid. To protect their reputation, a mature Capricorn will verify all of their gathered information. They will be objective, not trivial, and they won't procrastinate and be lazy. They will back causes in a very moral manner. This is why they are police officers and affiliate themselves with law and order. They care about their safety as well as others. They take major heed to their warnings. We all need to take major heed to their warnings about our future. Due to being so focused on their knowledge, they can be like walking encyclopedias. They can be very socially awkward because of this and not understand social cadence. But due to having so much RAM in their memory, they can learn from past mistakes in this area. So yeah, they are definitely your geeks that like to study all the time, and that can take away from socializing. They are also introverted. So negatives for a Capricorn: they can tend to be bossy, emotionally detached. They can respond without emotion and can tend to parent everyone around them. They can tend to seem stuck up and reserved. But you know what? They're very consistent and objective. Alright, so they are typically past focused. They like to collect knowledge from a scholarly, objective point of view. They are very focused on knowledge. They can be socially awkward. They have the potential to have the largest drive for memory, can learn from past mistakes. They will obsess over getting answers. They are building their tower of wisdom. They are very critical of what they know. They can be history buffs, and they know that history repeats itself. They can be constantly talking reference points. Some cannot be in the mood to verify what they know and go with the flow of society, so don't be lazy and get stuck in a rut like that. They can be all about bringing social change, bringing sympathy with cause and truth. So they tend to want to be second in power. They don't want to initiate and be the lead. I went over the temperament of Capricorn, or the ISTJ. Now I am going to... I want to get Atlas in my little video. So now we're going to break down the hero, parent, child, and inferior cognitive functions. So we have Saturn and introverted sensing within the hero cognitive function, or the ruler. So the ruler is the home or the right side, which means this is what the Capricorn feels is the right thing to do in most situations. This is home feeling for them and what they are most comfortable with doing. The feeling of a planet within its own sign is one of ease. It feels comfortable to be home. It feels relaxed and unconcerned in its expression. It does not feel challenged at the same time, often reflecting attributes that are thought to be conventional in that realm of life. So Saturn is an outer planet. It describes whole generations and periods of history. Saturn represents how one controls and sets boundaries, how one sees reality, where we can gain structure and build structure through people, places, things, or resources, where one places and receives boundaries and restrictions and limits. It is the potential creative or the venting emotional expressions of life. So it can be potential or blocks of those things, blocking our emotions. It can represent getting our acts together and the father figure. So Saturn flows us towards being more practical, making sense, building, growth, nourishment, caring, but is cold. So it's created to be a container within, or cold can be a dryness, like a non-emotional awareness. So it can tend to replace it with material and physical things. It's very logical. It can replace the feminine fulfillment, which is passion, fire, feeling, or emotions. So we will tend to repress the feminine and fulfill with masculine energy, so logic or practicality. So Saturn's dedication to structure and discipline suits order in business and politics, as well as the physical frames upon which our buildings and bodies depend. So too much control can calcify our actions and attitudes, freezing the juices of creativity and rendering us impotent. There must be a limit to limitation. If we keep this in mind, we can benefit from the positive aspects of Saturn: control and strength. Saturn can indicate where problems, restrictions, and barriers are most likely in our lives, and confronts us with the reality of impermanence. So the hero is a optimistic function. There's a lot of energy here. We can take our hero to the extreme, so much so it can run our lives from autopilot and be almost unconscious to us. So the hero function is the first gateway of the mind in the four sides, the ego, subconscious, unconscious, and superego, but doesn't start to develop until after the id or infancy stage, when we only know what we want and our basic needs. So the ego isn't fully formed until adolescence. A child can, or when we're first born. Well, we tend to work on or develop our hero cognitive function between the ages of 1 and 12. The hero is our strongest, most dominant, and well-developed function. It is our flow state. So consciousness itself is order, and we are conscious because of the ego. So the cognitive attitude of the hero function within the ego. So it is an optimistic function. So there's a lot of energy. So bravery, conviction, courage, determination, helpful, honesty, inspirational, moral integrity, protective, self-sacrificing, selflessness, strength, competent, and confidence. So the hero SI is, the quotation is, I'm heroic with what others experience. It is a colder earth energy, and also no fire signs have SI. SI can represent long-term memory or a large RAM with a lot of memory storage and ability to access that within our mind. So introverted sensing is a subjective perception to object. SI, or introverted sensing, represents long-term memory, conviction, discipline, past, duty, honor, and loyalty. So it helps us review past experiences and lets us see what is, seeking detailed information and links to what is known, recalling stored impressions, accumulating data, recognizing the way things have always been, stabilizing with predictable standards, can aid in personal growth and development by recalling to mind lessons learned in the past. Acts rather passively and outside conscious control, afraid of new experiences. So SI users are all about their own comfort. So they need to get over their fear in order to build up the best future intuition. So it is an introverted subjective perception to object function. So they can recall names, details, dates, about them, and they can truly weather storms due to having high endurance. They're very loyal and duty-based, has a need for honor. They do tend to weather a lot of storms. A lot like storms would be kind of psychologically would be weathering other people being emotional and inconsistent. But when they are pushed too far, there's nothing you can do to fix it. So they do want consistency, they need it and want it, and accuracy, stability. They like to be grounded and they like to have their roots deep into things. They may be stubborn, closed-minded. They may feel they have limits as far as free choice and what they believe. They can get frustrated by replaying memories in random fashion. They want to stay true to their words and live according to a sense of history. They feel comfortable with reality when they understand it. They want to form practicality from logical thinking, so Earth takes shape and form. They're all about remembering things, duty focus, like I said, and safety is a huge thing. Okay, so they tend to be very loyal, but they will backstab when they are pushed too far, which takes a long time to reach that point. They are very particular with how they experience things in the external, external to self. They want and need to be safe, and they are slow to move and make decisions, and they are very cautious. Due to being so cautious, they can get frozen trying new things or going out of routine. They can seem very boring to other people because they are so routine. They can be very aware of appearance and organization. They can be very reflective about their experiences and what lessons they have learned. They compare the present with the past all the time, and they can tend to really live in the past and get stagnant and depressed, asking themselves, what does my internal life represent? They can tend to feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders, and this weight is very burdensome. They can find it very difficult to express their true emotional internal world. They are a thinker by nature, out of responsibility to others, but can take on too much. With so much repression, they can really burn themselves out and isolate themselves. All right, that's all I have for today. I am exhausted. I have an early morning, and I hope you like this video. I will elaborate more on the parent, child, and inferior cognitive functions within the Capricorn or Istj ego. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you later.